Well, thank
Hi,
you so much
sweetie.
for sitting down with me.
It's great to be here.
Well, I'm glad you're here. We are in Austin, Texas, one of our favorite places to go to. I've spent some time down here before. Really enjoy it down here. Good city. And honestly, the main reason for this podcast, didn't really plan on actually releasing this to people. This was going to be my Christmas gift to myself. What most people don't know, this is one of my best friends on the planet, and I call her pretty much every single day to figure out my life and go from there. And I just wanted to kind of share who I am as a person before I dive into the podcast later on with other guests. Wanted to give a little bit of understanding and background as to where I came from. And the only woman that's on the planet that can really validate that story is sitting in front of me here. So without further ado, this is my mother, Kristen. Thank you for sitting down with me.
Hello, everyone. Yes, I've been there from day one with you.
Obviously. So but we can just jump right into that, honestly. So
Yeah.
and this, I'll be learning along with you guys a lot of, some of these things, because we haven't had the entire conversation as to where I came from and how my family dynamic started. So obviously Chicago is kind of where we came, or where I was born. And my biological father, Will, took off before I was born, realistically. Tell me more about him, how you guys met, and what went down there.
So we were both living in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
I guess his story is he followed some flight attendant over to Chicago, a
From where?
a United flight attendant from Australia.
From Australia, okay.
Yes. And then that didn't work out. So I met him actually through a friend of mine that I knew from church.
Interesting.
Yeah. And if we're being honest, he was okay. I mean, I wasn't like, oh my gosh. But everybody I talked to was like, oh my gosh, he's the most beautiful man I've ever seen. I was like, really? Okay. And I told him at the time, I just, I don't know how long you're going to be here, and you're not from here, and you're on a visa. So let's just be friends. And obviously that didn't work out. So I found out the day after he left, when his visa expired, that I was pregnant.
Okay, that's something I didn't know the timing of that, to be honest with you. That's
and I
funny.
called him, and he said all the right things. Oh, I would travel the world for you. It would be an honor to marry you. And then he came over and talked to Nana and Papa, sat across the table from them.
Nana and Papa, my grandparents.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Nana and Papa, your grandparents.
Just
Yes.
making sure. Yeah.
Yes. Sorry. And said, I don't have a lot to offer your daughter, but I love her, and I will do right by her. And Papa pulled me aside and said, if you don't marry him this weekend, you will never see him again. And it was...
How profound of a statement that was.
Oh, well, he was, one of the
I'm well
wisest,
aware- yeah.
one of the wisest men to ever walk the earth.
For sure.
And it was Labor Day weekend. And he said, because we had driven in from Chicago to go to a wedding in Cleveland.
So Nana and Papa were living in Cleveland at this time.
They were in Ohio at the time. I know people will begin to understand how hard it is to follow our stories with all the travel.
Because it bounces from city to city all the time.
Yes.
And we can kind of go whenever we want to. And there's so many different reasons to go so many different places. So,
exactly.
And also, just to hammer in on that, we don't feel like we owe anyone an explanation. Why do I have to tell you where I'm going or what I'm doing, right?
Exactly.
So go ahead. So back to
he flew into Chicago. We drove back to Ohio, had the whole conversation, and Papa said to me, there is a judge in Milwaukee that I found that will marry you this weekend, because it was Labor Day weekend, and he was flying out on Monday, which was Labor Day.
He was that serious about that. Papa was that serious about this. Wow. Okay.
And I looked at him and I said, Will and I have talked about it, and we've decided that that's not the route we want to go right now. And he said, okay, but I'm telling you, if he leaves, you'll never see him again. And to this day, I've never seen him again face to face.
Sure.
I was actually in Hong Kong, where he's living now, at the same time that he was there, but did not see him.
Sure.
And then he went back to Australia, and 2 weeks later called and said, I don't love you, I can't marry you. And I remember going, oh, wait, you can do that? I didn't know that was an option, as I'm,
going through it.
Yeah, as I'm, 30 days into.
I don't want to jump into this too much or jump over it too much either, but that's a pretty big moment for you personally too.
Yes.
How are you handling that in that time period? Because I know you well. I know Nana and Papa very well. They're very, I will say, traditional.
Yes.
So there's going to be some pressure of, hey, you need to have a husband and a nuclear family here for the kid that's kind of coming.
Yes.
There's a lot of pressure on your shoulders as well, as someone's kind of, leaving you. How are you handling that?
As best I could. I was actually very involved in the church at that time and had a good support group. There was something called Alone and Pregnant. You know, Mary was alone and pregnant, right?
Sure.
The mother of Jesus, right? So that was the ministry that it was based on. And I won't go into all the details, but I was being pressured by Nana and Papa and my sister, you know, place him for adoption. You need to put him up for adoption.
Sure.
And I wanted to be responsible, and I wanted to know that I had done all my research and made the best decision for me and for you.
Sure.
Because I wasn't expecting to be pregnant at that point. In fact, I had been accepted to Temple University's master's program in sports administration.
And this is, you know, on the back of a Stanford degree in English and a minor in what was it as well?
Oh no, double major in English and economics.
Double major in English and economics. Sorry.
That's okay.
Apologize.
2 degrees. From
Two degrees from Stanford and heading into a you know, potential sports management program in Temple. And I know you've told me before you had an offer. Was it accounting as well, or was something?
Oh no! When I was applying to colleges, I could have gone to Wharton and gone to Penn and been part of their 5-year MBA program. So come out with the MBA.
And this is in a time where MBAs are absolutely everything.
Yeah,
they make a big deal. They're valuable.
You know, Gordon Gekko. You know, greed is good. 1980s.
Wall Street kind of hitting.
Exactly.
So totally understand that. And then I show up as an unexpected surprise.
A detour for sure. Which becomes very important to my story later as far as my driving career and all of that.
100%. 100%.
Detours are quite known.
But this is the point of play life beautifully, right? You have these plans and this idea of where you're headed, and then bang, something else happens. You're like, oh, okay, now I'm here with almost like a basket of ingredients from the show Chopped, and I have to put these things together and create a meal out of nothing. But okay, let's do it.
Now, that being said, I am a person who kind of thrives on change.
Okay.
So that wasn't as disorienting as it might have been for other people. I was like, oh, yeah, I got this. I can figure this out. Because I tend to overestimate my ability to handle things and underestimate what the reality of things are. And that's where Nana and Papa were coming from. You know, I was 26 at the time, so I wasn't, 16.
No. But you don't have the full level of maturity and understanding that you have now or at 30 or 35.
And the other thing is, until you have a child, you have no idea. You just don't know.
That's what everyone keeps telling me.
Yeah. And I remember being pregnant and being like, okay, I'm going to be delivering a baby pretty soon. Is this a contraction? Is this what? And they're like, you'll know.
Okay.
And we won't go any further into that.
Thank God.
That being said, so I was in Chicago. I was living with 2 women in a house. We were renting a house together. And they were both great. One is your crazy Aunt Lori, who's no longer with us. God rest her soul. She was
legend,
a wonderful, beautiful woman who helped me a lot through that. And I think one of the first major times I stood up to Nana and Papa and said, no, I'm going to do what I want, was when I called them and said, I've decided I'm going to parent. I had a family picked out, and that had to be one of the hardest days of my life, was when I met those people and was like, okay, if I place him for adoption, this is going to be his family. And I couldn't do it because it just, when you were born, my life changed exponentially, and I would never choose anything else.
I mean, I was very fortunate to get a mother like you. I think one of the main reasons, again, I wanted this idea for Christmas was to cherish the kind of phone calls that we have back and forth of us just laughing and sharing stories and going through our own life, stories and explaining and parenting each other candidly.
Yes, absolutely.
But it's just one of those. I was am very lucky to have you as a mother for a number of reasons. And I think that people these days, guys in particular, we need to cherish our parents more. I mean, there are so many people out there that don't have relationships with either their mom or their dad or both, or they want to have them, but they can't, or whatever it is. And if you have one of those relationships, you need to take full accountability for it, but appreciate it completely. And really spend the time to get to know each other like this and really understand who that person is, because they've lived longer than you.
Yes.
They know what's coming for you. They see certain things. Yes, that the world's changing a ton and we might have to kind of adapt to that, but you have a person that is in your corner unconditionally that's lived before you. You need to kind of celebrate that.
And they were, both of them, Nana and Papa. I didn't fully understand it at the time. They were being realistic and I was being idealistic, but to bring it all full circle, there were multiple times that both said to me, we are so grateful that you parented him, that you kept him, that he's part of our family. You were the golden grandchild.
I truly was the golden grandchild. I'll jump in here and really talk about Nana and Papa in particular. Those two were my saviors. I've talked about this before in a number of other places, but I mean, statistically, if you grow up in a fatherless home, you're supposed to be in jail or dead by 30, realistically. You giving me experiences around the world and through United and being like able to travel for free, on top of, hey, experiences over things are important. You had a very big impact on my upbringing. You were in my corner for soccer, for everything when it comes to that. Mm-hmm. But I do need to give Nana and Bappa their credit and their due of just being my security guard, because we haven't gotten to it yet. But the stepfather that replaces, Will, who left, is arguably worse than, a father that abandoned. And Nana and Bappa really, stepped up there and became the father figure hybrid that I really needed. Nana, being the educator for 20 years, was a fourth grade teacher?
Fourth grade gifted
teacher in inner city Cleveland, in the type of school you're walking through a metal detector to get to, and being sworn at, from 8 to 10-year-olds or however old they are. She's trying to reach that next generation. So there's no way I was getting away with anything in that house. And then you have Bappa, who, again, just strong male presence, role model, taught me chess, would pull down the atlas and say, this is where I'm going. I'm going to go, set up structured, responsible lending practices in Afghanistan. And at that time, I'm sitting here like, oh, that's cool. And he's like, oh, and this is the Ottoman Empire, and this is where, these people were at that time, and explaining all the history to me, and just teaching me how to be a person, teaching me how to be a gentleman towards women, how to treat women in general, table manners, the whole 9 yards. I never felt any level of absence in the fatherhood figure or the fatherhood role because of that.
So I'm glad you brought it back around to that. There were two things that you said that I want to kind of bring back, bring the conversation back to. One is about the statistics about growing up in the fatherless home.
Sure.
And I inherently knew that, not that specifically, but that I wanted you to have two parents.
Sure.
And I also felt, that I had put Nana and Bappa into a difficult situation in their friend group and wanted to make it right, I suppose, which the decision didn't. But that was why I got married. Not because I, found someone that I fell in love with, but because I was trying to make the best out of a difficult situation and maybe make amends for, what had happened. So enter, John into our lives.
For sure.
And the motive might have been okay, but it didn't work out the way it...
Sure. And I mean, another thing that
was a nice way of putting it.
100%. There's a couple of not nice ways to put it that we're going to get to soon, don't worry. But at the same time, another humanizing thing for your parents is, like, the older you get, the more you realize, like, your parents are just doing this for the first time too.
Yes.
They have absolutely no idea what they're doing, and they're being handed this type of problem set that they've never seen before. And you're watching them attack that, and give them some grace, I guess. At the same time, not a good person. So this guy comes in, and I remember this vividly at the age of 3. I hated him immediately.
Oh, wait. Can I jump in?
In a second. It was just one of those energies I could see at such a young age of, like, you are not a good guy. Don't talk to me. And maybe that's on me at 3, but I don't think it is. Go ahead.
I'm going to wind that back because you were actually 6 months old.
Oh, so
okay, so the first time you met him, and he said he's never going to let me get close to you.
Damn straight.
And you looked at him and you stared him down, 6 months old, and he was like, this guy doesn't like me. This kid doesn't like me. And it never really got better from there, unfortunately.
And you can make the argument that that's my fault. Like, that's on me.
That's not your fault.
Some people could make the argument of, like, oh, well, you never opened up. Not me. Go ahead.
No, absolutely not. And, there were a lot of factors there that were difficult. He was a Christian Scientist.
Yeah, I do want to dive into that pretty heavily, actually. That religion is an absolute joke. And it's one of those things that I hope it doesn't tarnish my view on all religion, because I do think most of the religions, if you follow them correctly, will lead you to the same place. And also, you probably don't necessarily have to follow that religion. If you're a good person, you're probably going to the same place too. This one in particular is insane. I was not allowed to celebrate birthdays. because according to that religion, or according to John's version of that religion,
Right.
birthdays put a number on how old you are, which means you're getting closer to death and you're acknowledging that death exists. Therefore, you shouldn't celebrate yourself. Makes absolutely no sense to me. Was not allowed to celebrate Halloween. I think those are trick-or-treating is necessary as a part of a childhood. I'm very excited to dress up and take my kids out and kind of experience it vicariously through them. But the big one was the lack of medical attention. It was, you're never allowed to go to doctors. We don't believe in doctors. Medicine is not a thing. You should just pray, maintain a good mindset, be positive, and everything will kind of fix itself. And that's okay if the entire family is going to follow it. But I'm the only one that had to. We've got, step siblings, Katie. She breaks both of her wrists rollerblading, and that day she's in 2 casts. Ben is my other stepbrother. He breaks his collarbone playing football in the backyard. He's in a sling that day. Sam is my half-brother living with us, jumps off of a booth in a Pizza Hut, breaks his arm. He's in a cast that day. I break my metatarsal. I'm expected to play soccer that day. I break my foot, I'm expected to play soccer that day. I broke my wrist, I'm expected to play soccer that day. I'm the only one that was actually having to actually pull out Christian Scientist or Christian Science as a religion. And in reality, all it did was build up my pain tolerance and ability to basically compartmentalize people that I don't like into one corner and move on and be successful in others.
So you're welcome. No, I'm just I'm just kidding. And to that point, there are some elements of Christian Science that I think are useful, but I would venture to say that what it was intended to do has been, they've moved it. It's been adulterated in some way, and that's neither here nor there. I don't really want to get into that discussion
because it wasn't even just the religion with John, but that is a big part of it. We don't need to go much further.
But what I think that does highlight is that in many regards, you were treated differently from day one.
I remember vividly, again, I'll probably ruin the actual age that I was, but we were in the Cleveland house, Lakewood house. I was probably 5 or 6, where it dawned on me that I was the only one that wasn't his kid.
You were 5.
I was the only one that was not biologically his child. And I could start to see the differences. I'm like, okay, so yeah, you do treat me a little differently. It's okay. And Nana and Bappa absolutely noticed it, and I think it's candidly one of the reasons that I was the golden grandchild to them, is they saw the fact that I was being treated as less than.
Yes.
And they would feel that and try to help me kind of understand what love really was.
Yes.
You could see, the best example I have is Thanksgiving. We are at Nana and Bappa's because John couldn't hold the job long enough for a couple of years, so we had to move into their attic, which is embarrassing in general. If you're a father, living in your in-laws, it's not necessarily where you want to be. But he's barking orders at me to set the table for Thanksgiving while his other children are at his in-laws' house watching TV. I don't mind doing that by any means because I'm helping the family out. But at the same time, it should be a group activity, not just me going to do that.
Oh, I absolutely agree. And I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on John because he's a footnote. I mean, when I look back on my history, that 19-year marriage is kind of a black hole. I don't remember a whole lot of it except anecdotes that remind me that, okay, I'm glad I'm not there anymore.
Well, same. Because, there were some...
the throwing you into a pool at 2 years old and
I didn't like to swim.
Expecting you to swim.
Again, I love my response at that. It's my favorite response. I'll digress. We are at Salt Fork State Park in a lodge for Christmas. It was a Christmas tradition. They have a nice pool, nice kind of cabin area. Everyone gets together. We go open gifts and have a great time. I'm not a big fan of the water. It was not something I enjoyed in general. John wanted me to face my fears, and his way of doing that was picking me up off of the chair and throwing me into the water at 2 years old into the deep end. Didn't know how to swim, had no idea. I remember the conscious decision. I was like, okay, you want to throw me in the water? I'm going to sink to the bottom and I will die here right now. I will put you in jail right now unless you come and get me out of here. And everyone jumped in and looked at me like I'm the problem.
Right.
It's one of those of I am stubborn when it comes to that, especially when someone's pushing my buttons like that. Mm-hmm. But if we're really going to identify what the problem is, that's not good parenting. That's not how you actually handle teaching someone how to swim. It's not sink or swim. It's, hey, I got you. Hey, let me take you through this. This is going to be okay. This is how a father should handle it.
Right.
And to jump off of that, the reason that I feel like I'm not the statistic that is 30 and dead or in jail is because of my ability to compartmentalize, but also to realize I learned how to be a great father, how to be a great husband and a great man by doing the opposite of what I was shown. And it's so clear that I don't need anyone else to kind of show me that. I had Nana and Bappa show me the foundation, and then I learned everything the opposite way.
No, I totally agree with you. And one of the things you've been very helpful with me is teaching me how to establish boundaries and stand up for myself and have a voice. I remember you saying to me, Mom, it was that bad. And I was like, no, it wasn't. Mom, it was that bad. And I'm like, oh, maybe it was.
He threw me over a car.
Oh my gosh.
Expecting you to catch me.
As an infant.
I remember laying in the tiger lilies of the side lawn of where you caught me, because you caught me and fell over. He thought it was hilarious. It's not funny. It still isn't funny.
Right.
Still isn't. Being locked in a basement is not fun. Like, now, candidly.
I'm sure there are some people questioning, why did you stay so long for me? And it's a valid question.
It is. It is an absolute valid question, but I have at it.
So I gave you a little of the backstory. And I will say I was in fight or flight mode, and this is not an excuse. I was in survival mode for the entirety of that marriage. I had made a decision, and going back to Nana and Bappa, when you get married, you make your bed, you lie in it, you deal with it, you work through it. And there was a warped sense of security, I guess, there. The deal was...
What's the alternative?
Right, exactly. And the deal was, okay, we get married because I worked for him. That's how I met him. Then I get to stay at home and raise Alex. I'm like, okay, this works, right? And a week later, after we got back, he had lost his job. So it was this kind of bait and switch from the beginning. And I wasn't really equipped to handle it, you know? And I did the best I could. Do I wish I had left earlier? You and I have talked about this many times. Absolutely. It's part of our story, though, and it's one of those things that, we both...
I wouldn't change it. Like, in hindsight,
I was going to say, we've both learned from, and, so let me bring that back around to one of my teaching moments, or one of the things I say to you, which is, you can't be further along than you are.
Correct.
I can look back on that and say, I wish it would have, why didn't I? But I did the best I could in the moment with the information I had and the level of maturity that I had.
Sure.
Would I do that now? No, but I also wouldn't be in that marriage now.
You wouldn't, but at the same time, you wouldn't have the knowledge that you know now without that experience, which is what I go back to. Of like, I wouldn't change the upbringing because it's given me the knowledge and the understanding and the depth that I have now.
Yes.
There are things that people cannot reach me on or reach my level on because I've been through that.
Yes.
It's the only reason that exists. So no, I wouldn't change that by any means. And candidly, John, if you're watching this, I do forgive you. Honestly, like, genuinely do forgive you. Don't want to talk to you, but I forgive you. It is one of those that understanding it, moving forward, and then building off of that in a positive way can heal the entire situation.
Yes. One of the other things I wanted to come back to, and we don't have to stay on this if it's not the right time, but you had mentioned about Bappa and pulling down the atlas and all of that. He was an international banker, and I only knew him as someone who was a citizen of the world. He traveled all the time. In fact, we lived overseas when I was 12 and 13, lived in London, had that amazing experience. Sometimes I forget that everybody lives different lives, and that is not something that translates necessarily, but what he did give us all was a love of travel.
For sure.
And that was so important.
There's more to that, though. There's a quiet confidence on top of that. There's a quiet understanding of, hey, I have you, I'm here. Mm-hmm. And the ministry of presence with him in particular was huge. Yes.
Without a doubt, because even when he wasn't there, he was there.
Correct.
I can still hear his voice. Alexander Jack.
I can hear it too. You sure you want to move your bishop there, buddy? I think so. No,
Okay.
I can hear him for sure. And yes, obviously had an army in front of me to kind of help me move forward. So I never felt at risk at all.
Yes.
Want to go back to Will though at this time period, because
Sure.
obviously we're growing up Lakewood House in Cleveland with John and Sam is my half brother, with you as well. We end up losing our house in 2008, and the crisis there. John lost his job. We ended up moving in with Nana and Bappa at that time, and it was a blessing in disguise. Like there, it was a safe house. Like Nana and Bappa like gave us a home, obviously, but also safety from anything that could happen at home.
Yes.
So that place was unbelievable. And then at this time, I do remember kind of having my first couple phone calls with Will, like over the phone, of just like, hey, do you know who this is? I'm like, kinda. Like, I've heard stories, but I don't really know what's going on here. So obviously, he goes back to Australia at this time, calls you, ends things, which do that in person, candidly, just respectfully. But also, there's another storyline with him that kind of starts out there.
Yeah, so just to be clear, he called and said that, but stayed in my life as far as,
Okay.
oh no, I want to be there when he's born. I'm going to come back. I'm trying to earn enough money because he couldn't get another visa.
Yeah,
okay.
okay.
But never came. Okay. It was always this time. And it just kept getting kicked down.
It was all talk.
Down the can kept getting kicked down the road. So, that's when I met John and moved in that direction. And so Will and I were still talking, and I said, listen, John wants to adopt Alex.
Mm-hmm.
And Will's like, I think that'd be a great idea, really solidify you as a family. So I sent the paperwork over. And
also not what he told me, by the way, when I met him for the first time. Just wanted to say, that is not what he told me years down the line when I met him for the first time, but continue.
So I send the paperwork over for him to sign, and he refuses to accept the paperwork. I don't want him to think I ever wasn't there for him, and that I didn't want to be his dad. And
it's I'm 32 now. Where were you?
Exactly.
No, seriously, where were you? Because you made it very clear you didn't want to be my dad, and that's cool. I'm not mad about that, but you then don't get to play the part of like, oh, I really did. No, you didn't.
Right, because when I met John and was moving in that direction to kind of, have a father
figure
stand in for you, I told Will, I said, I don't want to have a relationship with you, but I will never speak badly of you, and I will never interfere with whatever relationship you choose to have with Alex, but I'm not having it for you. You have to do it. And he didn't do it. There was one time that he said, oh, I'm going to sell some stocks. I want to send some money over for Alex to buy a car. This was when we were living at Nana and Bappa's. And I was like, oh, that would be awesome. Yeah, I'm going to send you $10,000. And I was like, to this day, we have not received.
No, he sent it in yen.
$1. So he kind of faded in and out as this possibility that never came to fruition.
And what a great lesson to learn for both of us.
Yes.
An almost is what? A no.
Yes.
An almost is
no.
It's no.
Yes.
Hey, I'm almost. No, you're not. Go ahead.
Correct. Yes. And so when you were adopted, because John did adopt you, worst day of your life, I'm sure. Besides
the fourth knee surgery wasn't great.
Yeah, well, okay, right up there. And so that's when you became Alec Farrell.
Whose decision was that?
Well, it was the courts, really. I mean, we were. He was adopting you to make it official, and I remember when you had that. Oh my gosh, I'm not his biological son.
Correct.
But the whole time through the adoption process, I said to you, John is not your dad, but we're going to go through a legal ceremony for you to become a Farrell, just like I had to. But, there's this other person. We never acted like Will didn't exist. You were always aware of him, but he just wasn't present. Just wasn't here.
Correct.
So, years later, how could you do that? You took my son away. And I'm like, no, I didn't. You abdicated your role. You did. You just chose not to be a part of that. And there's a whole lot that we could go into.
I do want to just get into, so that's helpful. And then obviously, and I'll get into it later in other episodes, but I do reclaim my birth name.
Yes.
It's more important for me. It's not even about reclaiming, Henderson for my biological father's last name. It's, hey, this is what I was born as. This is what I want to build my name off of. I don't want the Farrell name attached to me. I don't want something I've changed into. I want to reclaim what I had, and this is what it is. So I go through that name change legally. I think it was 2020, right before I started traveling the world, but that was an important part of my life, and
Yes.
as was this adoption and that name change as well. I do remember, again, very young at this age, but a Lion King picture frame that was handed to me, and I remember the office that I was in for this meeting. Not thinking much about it, being like, oh, well, this is the guy that's been around for however long. Okay, cool. Like, whatever this means. And I'm
Well, you were two at the time.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not supposed to know. But I do want to go into what Will was doing at this time, because I know he started a second family out in Australia and then ends up with a third one in Hong Kong. I mean, you've got kids all over the world at this point. It's a little crazy. So, like, how does that kind of happen?
I'm going to go on record. As far as I know, you are his oldest child.
Okay.
But that being said, so when you try to explain your family, when people say you had, there's so many questions that you and I cannot answer.
And they're the most basic questions. Yeah. What's your family life like? Which one?
Where do you live? Yeah. What's your name?
Funny question. I live in Arizona for right now, but I'm in Austin, Texas. I was in LA yesterday and in Argentina a week ago. But where do I live? I don't know.
Yeah.
How do I answer that?
Exactly. Well, where's my driver's license currently from? So we'll
my Northern Territory, Australia driver's license, or the Ohio one, or the Florida one? I'm not sure. Sorry, go ahead.
No problem. So what was the question we were asking?
I was trying to ask you where, so Will starts a second family in Australia.
Right.
I technically have.
So when people say, oh, do you have any brothers or sisters? Okay, well, you've got a half brother and half sister from the marriage that Will had when he was living in Sydney.
Who I've never met, by the way.
Now, mind you, for the audience, Will was born and raised in New Zealand.
That's my Maori heritage, yes.
His mother was Maori, and his father was Scottish.
Correct.
And he came and went from Australia when I met him.
Because, for those of you that don't know, Australia and New Zealand are very close. You can live and work in both with one citizenship. So you can live and work in Australia as a New Zealander, and vice versa. You can live and work in New Zealand as an Australian. Go ahead.
Correct. So he had gone back to Sydney. He had gotten a woman pregnant and married her. And then they had a second child. So you have two half siblings from that marriage. Mm-hmm. That marriage ended in divorce.
I find it ironic as well. So again, we're jumping timelines here just a little bit, but I did go to Australia, and he kind of made a number of points, or at least some effort, to try and keep me from seeing them. So I am curious. Again, if you guys are watching this, I'd love to get in contact and just talk with you guys about what's going on, or your stories if they're there. And if not, totally understand it, but go ahead.
Caleb and Grace Henderson, I think, unless they changed their names.
Gotcha.
But she left and went to live with her parents, and he never saw them again, as far as I know. I
was told from him that, well, what were you told? We'll leave that for now. Okay. Actually, I'm going to get in trouble for that. So we'll leave that one. Go ahead.
Will and I were still communicating.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I was one of his few friends. I don't know. But he called me and said, hey, I have a chance to go to China. What do you think? And I was like, oh, woman pregnant in one country, going to another country. Yeah, again, sounds about right. Sure, go for it. Whatever works for you.
Well, at that point, you've checked out. Like, why do you care? Like,
I wasn't really sure why I was being consulted.
Yeah.
But I actually do know why. I'm a very good listener. I'm an empathetic person, and I held no ill will towards him.
That was so. That is a big surprise for, I think, me to an extent, but a lot of other people as well. You don't hold grudges, like at all.
Don't, no.
I hold grudges, good and bad, in the sense of, like, if you screw with me, I'm going to ruin your life.
Right.
But if you treat me well, I'm going to treat you well too. Like, right. I just keep the score.
You have a long memory.
Correct. I keep the scoreboard kind of up there. But
and I have
the fact that you didn't do that, I think a lot of people would look at as like, that's pretty cool. And I think some people are like, why? Like, do you know what I'm saying there?
Yeah,
Like,
what's wrong with you?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, as
No,
we
really.
look as we look around to the next generation of people of women that candidly have made a lot of their money off of divorce, or you left money on the table there, realistically. And I'm not
Sure.
saying that negatively, but marriage is a financial institution at this point, to where some people might look at that negatively. I don't. I think you're cutting yourself off emotionally from someone that doesn't deserve you. But I think that might be where some people might look at, hey, why didn't you do it that way?
Sure.
Doesn't need an answer. Like,
No, it doesn't. We could do a whole podcast on all of that, but we were still friendly. I held no animosity. So, you know, and he did not have a close family upbringing. He was 6th of 12 kids from 4 different fathers and had some very difficult experiences. Go ahead.
Let me say this as well. I showed grace to John. Will, I'm saying it again to you, even now, after the second abandonment, which we will get to, I don't hold ill will towards you either. I want nothing to do with you. I think that you're not going to help me in any way, long term or short term. But at the same time, I'm not sitting here being like, man, fuck that guy.
Right.
Nah. You do you, I'll do me. I've built my own thing on my own. I'm very, very proud of it. Don't touch it now.
Very well put. And so we come back around. He's moved to China with a job. I think it was selling frozen orange juice concentrate or something
It's
like that.
funny. He told me he works for one of the wealthiest men in China named Mr. Lee. I'm not really sure if that's the case.
So it was funny when...
And I've also looked into Mr. Lee. He's also one of the biggest transportation moguls in Hong Kong. I would be very, very surprised if Will actually works with him.
I don't know. I know that whenever my story would come to light and people go, oh, tell me about Will, what does he do? And I'm like, I couldn't tell you. I have no idea. None.
Yeah.
I don't know. But he moved to Hong Kong, married a woman, presumably to be able to stay in the country. I think maybe there was some friendship or affection there, but his visa was up and he was going to have to leave because he lost his job. I think that's the way the story goes. And they got married and he has 3 kids there. So from what I know, there are 6 kids. So you've got 6 half siblings and 2 step siblings. I don't even know. You got a lot of siblings. But when it comes to...
Now, just...
No, wait. Let me just say this. Because the complete and utter irony is that our family is you and me.
I know. Like, that's the crazy part.
And Aunt Kim and Uncle Tom, my sister, and her family.
Yes, for sure. But yeah, don't talk to any of them. They're all over the world. But thank you for saying that, because it's so funny when someone asks about your family. It's like, how do you answer that, naturally, when that is the dynamic? It's very, very difficult to really get that across without coming off as trauma dumping, because then you have to give the entire background and actually explain what it is.
And then people just get lost and eyes glaze over.
Exactly.
And they're like,
So
can we just go on to... So where do you live? And it starts all over.
How do I answer that? It's just a different lifestyle. But
what I want to say, and I'm going to drop in one of my other, mom phrases, which is you can't connect the dots going forward. You can only connect them backward. You can only look back and say, oh, now I understand why that happened.
Sure.
And one of the true gifts that Will did give you was the ability to get New Zealand citizenship.
It's true.
And I mean, maybe the only gift that he gave you.
So far, yeah.
He gave me you. He gave you New Zealand citizenship, and I think that is something that needs to be acknowledged, because again, it comes back into the citizen of the world. We love to travel.
Let me rephrase that, because he didn't really give that to me. Let me explain it. I am Maori, and that is who I am. Like that is, I've claimed it. That's my culture. I have a moko. I've visited. I've lived there. That's me. That's me claiming that. He didn't give me that. You allow access through your gene pool, for sure. And that I understand. We'll acknowledge that. Thank you, sort of, for donating, I guess. But at the same time, you didn't teach me what it is.
That's not what I'm saying at all.
You didn't show me where it is. You didn't explain any of it while I'm growing up. I learned and claimed it myself. Go ahead.
What I'm saying is, from a legal standpoint, in the immigration office, because he was your biological father, you were able to get New Zealand citizenship.
Correct.
We'll leave it at that.
For sure. So obviously that's a pretty crazy dynamic just to start with. We throw in the soccer kind of lifestyle for me that
We haven't even gotten into that.
Well, we're about to. I know.
Okay.
So we've shown the home life as a child, like what you're really what I'm dealing with as a kid.
The chaos, yeah.
soccer, having a ball at my feet, that was my escape always.
It was your first word.
It was my first word. Bappa would feed me a bottle supposedly, and I would say ball, 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 and he thought it was bottle and just keep feeding me. But all I wanted to do was to play ball.
Yes.
And when anyone asked me what you want to be, when you grow up, it was I want to be a gamer. And in my mind at that time, it was I'm going to play every single sport professionally. I'm going to win everything. I'm going to do it all. That's me. So yes, soccer was my escape completely from all of that. It's what helped me compartmentalize things. It was my first love. I was on a date the other day with this girl in Cleveland, and she's like, have you ever been in love before? And I, without thinking, was like, yeah, but not with the person. She's like, what does that mean? I was like, yes.
Weirdo.
No, it is weird. It is weird. I was like, well, soccer.
No, it's not as
when
weird
you
as,
break it down, it's like,
sounds.
it taught me, friendship. Every single friend that I've had for the most part came from a soccer field. Mm-hmm. Most women that I dated in college were on the soccer team. And in general, it was my way of escaping a home front that was not safe and allowed me to express myself in such a way that I understood what I was supposed to be doing. So it was a very big part of my life. And just obviously you saw that kind of growing up.
I did. You kicked a ball before you could walk. It was one of the things that we bonded over. I'm a huge sports fan. Obviously, I was going to school for sports management. Yeah. So I love sports and the language of sport, how you can communicate.
Soccer in particular, though.
In particular,
you look at Peter Drury. If you listen to him commentate a game, it's poetry.
Oh, absolutely.
Roma has risen from their ruins. There is not one American sportscaster that can speak like that.
Agreed.
In live, it's
agreed.
An unbelievable skill.
And not only that, but I've heard you describe this before. You've played in many, many countries around the world with people who don't speak English. Or that you don't speak their language, but the language of soccer speaks for itself. Football.
Yes.
Sorry, I know where we are.
No, but it's true. I mean, we'll talk about world travel at some point here soon. But everywhere I went, I had a ball with me, and it brought people to me every single time. I'm juggling by myself on a beach in Costa Rica, and then all of a sudden there's a circle of people. We're all juggling, having a good time. Do we speak English? No. Do I speak a little Spanish? Poquito, a little bit. But at the same time, that ball connects so many people. I've said it before in a different podcast, but I'm walking out of Morocco in Casablanca with one ball with me. It's my last day in the country, and I'm walking down the street, and I see this kid. He's 12, 13, maybe 14. He looks at the ball and looks at me, and there's no words exchanged, nothing. Just, yeah, here you go. I'm leaving. Have it. And the smile on that kid's face, I swear, was better than winning the national championship. It's better than winning anything in general. But the whole point of that story is one ball can bring the entire world together. It's weird, but it's true.
But it's true. And just to bring that back to John real quick, this is, you'll see where I'm going with this. This was how different we were, John and I, in what we wanted out of life. 2010, I'd gotten tickets to the World Cup.
South Africa.
England, Algeria. And he wanted to buy a house, and we didn't have enough financial capability to do both.
Yep.
So I, once again, acquiesced, sold the tickets. In retrospect, that wasn't a great game, so it's okay.
I think it was zero. I was going to say earlier, I think it was 0-0, so we didn't miss much. And then on top of that, it's so funny. That is us in a T.
Yes.
Like, hey, you know what? House or soccer game in the World Cup?
World Cup.
Without thinking. Everyone else is like, what? But
it's an important nuance to bring to light.
True.
Because it's the way we think about things.
Yes. No, that's fair. That's fair. So soccer obviously was a massive part of my life. We're going to have to skip a little bit ahead here.
Yeah.
Get to Wake Forest, and that was everything for me, realistically. It's the only thing I've ever wanted to do. Obviously, the knee surgeries kind of hit, and that ruins things. I'll talk about that in a different podcast with different people, because I think there's different parts I want to get to with you. Go ahead. You were going to say something?
Well, I don't know if you were going to get to this, but as a mom, I know exactly where I was when you called me in Colorado.
We can go through that then. Yeah, so this was a very, very tough part of my life, candidly. So senior year, We lose to Stanford in...
Sorry, my alma mater.
No, they were a good team. They're a good team. They deserve to win.
No.
They deserve to win that game. The next year, I think we should have actually won, but it is what it is. We lose, deflection goal. I had a great year. Junior year, or senior year, redshirt junior, I exploded. Like, it made sense to me, and everything, the game slowed down. We lose on a deflection in the Elite Eight at home, and it killed me. And I made that photo my background on my phone. I ran on Christmas. I lifted on New Year's. I was, hey, I'm coming back next year so I can win a national championship. That is why I'm here. I could have gone pro the year before. Probably would have gone second round a little bit later, realistically. But I wanted that. So I come back for that year. And going into that, there's 3 or 4 teams. I think it was Denver, or Colorado Rapids, Sporting Kansas City, and Columbus Crew all called me in ahead of time for the summer. They said, hey, we're watching you. We want you to kind of come in and train with the guys, just get used to the facilities, used to the pace of this level. And I'm excited, of course. Why wouldn't I be? So I fly out to Colorado for day 1, and guess who's there? Best goalkeeper of all time in the U.S. is Tim Howard, and he just got transferred over to Colorado. So I'm sitting in that locker room getting like, okay, like, this is real. I'm about to make, my dream come true this year or next. And I go out to start training with these guys, and I swear, man, I've done these drills my whole life. And one warm-up drill, I take a step to dive, I feel the pop, and there it goes. And my knee's done. I get carted off the field. And this is how I actually meet Tim Howard, because he was late to train, or not late to train, he came in the next day. He comes in while I'm kind of doing rehab on my knee. He's like, what's up, man? I'm Tim. I'm like, yeah, I know. Like, how are you? Like, nice to meet you. Long story short, this was the start of the knee surgeries that kind of ruined my career, realistically. This first one, you get it done. You miss the first 6 or 7 games of the season, which were most of the home games. Again, main reason I came back was to play at Spry and win a national championship. Have a great year again, All-American year. Once I do come back, make a couple big-time saves, and first game of the national tournament, same thing. Take a step, knee dive, pop, done. I'm in the locker room in tears, knowing that my career is most likely over. I do get another surgery at that time, and I do kind of rush back to play in the Final Four, and we do win in double overtime, and that's great, awesome. I can't walk the next day for the national championship, truly. Like, it would have been a disservice to my team had I played in that. It is one of those that I even tried to get a shot, tried to sneak a cortisone shot in there somehow, but didn't get it. And that led to, me getting drafted later on, and 2 more surgeries that kind of end that career and really kill off my way of expressing myself, and just my safety.
Right, because you go back to what you said earlier about being on the pitch is where you feel alive, where you feel safe, where you feel stable, where life makes sense.
Correct.
And it's gone.
And
I was living in Denver at the time. I had moved out there after the divorce. I get the phone call. I'm working for United Airlines up in ops, and I'm like, y'all need to cover for me. I got to go. And I go to pick you up, and I'm nowhere near as devastated as you are.
Sure.
But I've been with you on this journey.
I was a different person. Like, you could see it immediately.
It was very hard to do.
And this is the entire point of this podcast of Play Life Beautifully we talked about at the beginning of this conversation with you, if you're going to Temple after after graduating from Stanford or Wharton or wherever else, ready to go. Life changes. Mm-hmm. I am about to go accomplish the dream that statistically is impossible. Like, I'm not in jail and I'm not dead. I'm also going pro. On top of the fact that I was a walk-on at one of the best universities in the country for soccer that was supposed to be cut after his first year, me going pro and being a first-team All-American at that time is everything. And then it's gone. Yeah. And what people don't understand, and athletes that have been through this do understand, is everything is gone. It's not just the game. It's not the career. It's not the money. Your entire identity, the way that you handle situations like this. If something bad happened to me like this in a different area of my life, everything that I would do, I would go grab a bag of balls, go to the field at night, and go strike until it goes away. You can't do that anymore, can you? Your identity is all wrapped up in that completely. Your confidence with women. You can't talk to girls without the fact that you're a pro or a first-team All-American. I mean, you can, but you have to start over from scratch and learn exactly how to communicate again. Right. You can't walk into a Merrill Lynch or a different level of a career place with confidence without the thing that gave you confidence before. You have to go rebuild that. And that's what people don't fully understand is, yes, you lose the career and all of that, and that's what they see. But what they don't see is then you have to start over from scratch completely while they've already won kind of what they already got.
And I have watched you brick by brick, step by step, rebuild yourself. And it's been a hard, arduous, challenging journey for you. And I am very proud of where you've come. So
same.
Anyone who says, well, I don't understand, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't. And thank you for saying that. And I'm very proud of it too. And bigger thank you for sticking by me and standing by me during it, because not a lot of people do. I mean, friend groups from Wake Forest don't stand by me when I need them necessarily all the time, or it's a big ask from anyone realistically. So thank you for filling those shoes in such a way. And I think that there's it's a bittersweet kind of point now, because if you look at it, what's grown out of the ashes of that, I'm very proud of, I'm very pleased with. And it also explains, like, yeah, I am going to go travel and live this way. I am going to jump on a plane randomly, and because everything can change in an instant, both good and bad though. Like both, good, like it can be taken away from you in a heartbeat, but you can walk into a gym in Australia and be like, hey, what's up, man? And then all of a sudden you're working at a gym.
Right.
It does work both ways.
Yes. And I remember when you were in college and, Nana and Bappa again, standing off stage going, well, what's he going to do if this, and I remember saying to you, well, first of all, let me just go back to this. How many times were you like, you're a terrible parent?
Oh,
and I took that.
I love the response, the laugh.
I took that as such a compliment.
No, okay.
But I remember.
Pause for a second. Okay. Let me explain this for a second. Okay. I can't come up with an exact example.
Give you one.
Okay, you got one? Go ahead.
I got one.
Okay.
So you're like, well, I want to major in economics, but I'm having trouble with this class. I'm like, who cares what you major in? You didn't go to school to get a degree. You went to school to play soccer. People would ask me, what's Alex majoring in? I'm like, soccer. No, really, and I'm like, soccer. And everybody'd be like, well, what's his plan B? And I'm like, plan B? If you have a plan B, that means that you don't believe plan A is going to work.
That's facts.
Right?
That's true.
That's what I kept saying to you.
That's what I did, though. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I would say the same thing to you again.
Yeah.
If you even with everything I know, I would still say, whatever it is you want to do, invest yourself wholly into that. Because if you're checking, well, if this doesn't work, if you start a sentence that way, then why are you even doing it?
That's a great point. No, you were an absolutely horrible parent. No,
yes,
kidding.
Thank you.
No, in the best way. That is so true. And it's what I needed to hear, and it's why I live my life this way.
Exactly.
Candidly.
And it goes back to, BMO's kind of fading. What do you think I should do? I could maybe do this, get another job, or I could go travel the world. And I'm
so let's jump into that, because I did want to get into that too. So obviously, soccer kind of ends for me. I talk about a tough situation. Moved back in with John in the summer after you two had divorced. So I'm living in my old. Okay, I expected to get drafted. I'm expecting to go live with the team, kind of set up myself in a new city, enjoy myself. And instead, I moved back to Cleveland, Ohio, into my childhood home with a stepfather that was not great to me, a half-brother that doesn't really like me, and then fresh off of a divorce with you. So I'm living back there because there's nowhere else for me to go, and trying to figure out, what am I doing with my life? How do I fix this while my knee's still busted? So I'm figuring out where the next surgery is going to be, what career path I'm going to go into, because like you just said, if I'm getting drafted, I had 5 agents senior year I already signed, like to where it's like I'm getting drafted.
Yeah.
Why would I interview anywhere else? I wouldn't. At the same time, now I have to, and I'm living in this time period. And it's like, okay, what do you do?
Falling out. Yeah.
Exactly. So get a job at Merrill Lynch, thankfully, pass my Series 7 and 66, and live in Denver, Colorado for a year before kind of getting to BMO and moving to Chicago. I'm bouncing around consistently, trying to find something that gives me the same feeling that soccer did. Couldn't do it. And that's okay. It's not meant to be a 9 to 5 necessarily for me. So going through that entire process was very, very difficult. And what I learned is the 9 to 5, what everyone else is kind of doing doesn't matter. Like, you need to find what you love to do, which is what we talked about, and just go chase it. Obviously, travel is a big part of our life. I find myself in BMO with a severance package coming my way, free flights and 2 passports. Of course I'm going to travel the world. Like, why would I not at this point? Because what else can happen?
Right. And anything can happen.
That's the point.
You could be anywhere and meet someone and your world opens up. We're still waiting on that.
No, we're not. We're not waiting on that.
That was a joke.
That's happening right now. Like, candidly, like the number of people that I met around the world that I will talk to or will be friends with or just have long-term relationships with is insane. My network is dumb in the best way. Like, I could fly anywhere, any state in the country probably right now and have a place to stay if I needed to. Like, realistically.
And when you start to ask people, like, or people, well, again, where do you live? Where don't I live?
Exactly.
You know, and me having, we didn't really get into this, and we don't need to, but, you know, my reinventing career after the airlines was to get my CDL and drive a semi.
Right.
And live in my truck. So I've been to all 50 states, and
so let me steal this from you.
Home is this.
Yes, but that's what people don't understand. They're used to the 9 to 5. They're used to, this is where you live. This is the compartment that we can put you in and understand you. And when you don't sit in that compartment and you're like, hey, but this is what I'm doing, they're like, well, I can't be around that. Right? I don't get it. It's like, that's fine. You don't have to. But then don't try and stand next to me or be around me. I'm going to go do my thing.
Because your expression of playing life beautifully and my expression of playing life beautifully doesn't fit into that box.
Correct.
And it shouldn't, because that's what I've always wanted to do. We've talked about how I think I'm a pretty good gift giver, but the thing I love to give the most is experiences. So if I can give you an experience that broadens your horizons, that opens you up to something.
Liverpool senior year.
Yeah.
My Christmas gift from you was a ticket to Anfield to go see Liverpool play Aston Villa and a flight to London, or a flight to Manchester. Granted, everyone looks at that and they're like, wow, you are a snobby kid. You don't know where we came from. Like,
no.
like we just went through and explained, like, we were either going to buy a house and stop living in an apartment or go to the World Cup. And we both chose the World Cup. Not necessarily the most on paper responsible decision. At the same time, though, I get to sit here now and be like, yeah, I've been here. I've done that. I did that. And the house isn't going anywhere.
And it made you who you are.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, no, I think we are absolutely playing life beautifully. Going to continue to do so, and very excited to see kind of where this leads to over the next couple of months. You and me both. Well, Mom, I appreciate your time, as always. I love you. Love you, too. Thank you so much for spending time with me and playing life beautifully. Good? Anytime. Good. I'm going to say one more thing. Kristen, thank you so much for taking the time here. Would you be okay with me disseminating this on social media moving forward? I would, yes. Thank you.